So I saw this article today and I said I gotta make a video about it. So let me go ahead and read the article. Bow Wow held an impromptu Q&A session on Twitter today and shocked his followers by calling all his own albums mid and seemingly throwing shade at hitmaker Jermaine Dupri. Bow Wow, born Shad Moss, jumped on the social media networking platform and got a few things off his chest. "What you want to know, ask me," is what he tweeted. During the 4-hour Q&A session on Twitter, the former So Def rapper was asked what are his favorite albums, to which he said none of them. He said he doesn't care for any of his albums. He doesn't have a favorite song. He really doesn't care about them like y'all care about them. I guess he's talking to his fans. Another fan asked what was his favorite album specifically, and Bow Wow replied, "None of them, they all mid. Y'all think I'm playing, but I'm dead for real." When another suggested that his fourth album, Wanted, was his best and that Rock the Mic was his best single, Bow Wow seemingly downplayed his 2005 project. "Rock the Mic, whack. Wanted album mid to me. This is my opinion though. All my albums mid, just saying. Just because I did them, don't mean I like them," he tweeted. Several of his fans thought Bow was capping, but he insisted that he wasn't fond of any albums in his catalog. Also during the chat, Bow Wow seemingly was throwing shade at his former So Def label boss Jermaine Dupri. When a fan asked the 35-year-old rapper what was his biggest pet peeve, he included JD in his response. Bow Wow said, "When people say they gonna do something and they never do it. Jermaine Dupri is king of doing that. Y'all know me and JD be bad terms and good terms. It is what it is." Later, Bow added that he was proud of his 2006 song, "I'm a Flirt," because JD wasn't involved in the making of the track. Another person asked Bow if he had to change anything from the past, what would it be? He responded he would have stayed with Snoop and never signed with nobody else, referring to So Def. For those who don't know, it was Snoop Dogg who discovered Bow Wow and gave him his rap name. Bow was also affiliated with Death Row Records before he was signed to So Def. And now Bow Wow hopes to release his final album on Death Row Records, which was recently acquired by his mentor Snoop. When fans warned Bow to stop shading JD, he scoffed at them. "He ain't my daddy. What he gonna do?" he wrote, adding a cry laughing emoji, like JD can control or stop me? Haha, like what? Fuck out of here, he said. Bow would later double down on his remarks about JD and cleared the air about his association with the veteran producer. Bow said, "JD cool, we just don't work together, that's all. Me and JD ain't worked together in like 10 years. And that's the end of the article. This is the second time this has happened in the last couple of weeks. When the game was on Drink Champs, he disassociated himself with Dr. Dre and said that Kanye West in a few weeks had more to do with his success than Dr. Dre had his whole career basically. That was an interesting statement, man, because Dr. Dre's the reason why you are famous. Without Dr. Dre, you wouldn't be the game. It's that simple. We all know that. That's like common sense. We don't know what you would have did had you never met him. The whole reason for your success is the fact that you associated yourself with this person, namely Dr. Dre. So that made it a blasphemous statement. I don't know why Bow Wow came out now to say these things. I did a little research, and about every 2 years, Bow Wow comes out and puts out a press release about Jermaine Dupri, basically saying that he did nothing for him. He had nothing to do with his success. Again, it's funny to me because I was around during the height of Bow Wow's career. Jermaine Dupri was always a part of it, to the point where he produced all his songs. He wrote all of his music. Every hit song that Lil Bow Wow ever went on world tour with came from Jermaine Dupri. He was literally responsible, him and Snoop Dogg of course, responsible for every lyric that the kid ever spit that came on a radio station. To say that he had nothing to do with your success at this point is crazy. It's the equivalent to a kid that's given everything from their parents, and then once the kid gets old enough, rebelling against the parents and saying, "You did nothing for me," when literally they gave you everything. That's called being spoiled at the end of the day. I see a lot of, I have a theory. It's called the child star syndrome. It's when these kids are given so much early, and I mean the attention they're seeking, the fame, the star treatment, all those things that come along with fame, they experience that very early in their lives. And it ends up screwing their heads up. What ends up happening is they hit their peak very early. in life. They might be musicians, or they could be on television shows. Some of them are on movies. Gary Coleman is a great example of the child star syndrome. Michael Jackson is also a very good example, a very extreme example of the child star syndrome. What happens when you have to go back into regular life after becoming a star at such an early age is you have a hard time adjusting. What happens to a lot of these kids, especially kids that are on television shows such as Steve Urkel, Jaleel White, Gary Coleman, like I said, Todd Bridges, these people don't adjust well to regular life, coming back into the real world after experiencing so much success. They become typecast a lot of the time. So once you blow up as a child, whether, like I said, you could be on a television show like Family Matters, like Steve Urkel. After Family Matters went off the air, he could not get another television show because everybody saw him as Steve Urkel. So say he went in for a serious role, a drama, all they can see is Steve Urkel. They can't see past the image that you created that became such a big success. Well, this seems to be the case with Bow Wow. He was Little Bow Wow. He was a superstar. Matter of fact, he was on stages with Jay-Z. Literally, I remember this. He was probably as big as Jay-Z. His songs were getting played on the radio at the same frequency as Jay-Z. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I remember this vividly. He was at the top of the charts. Nelly, Bow Wow, Jay-Z, Eminem, these were the charts back then. Bow Wow was in there, and he was only like 13 years old, 14 years old. He experienced the height of rap fame. Everybody knew Bow Wow. He was a household name. That is credited to Jermaine Dupri. So for him to say now that the man had nothing to do with his success, it's crazy, man. It's insane. He's literally burning that bridge. If I was Jermaine Dupri, the bridge would be burned. No more. And it doesn't seem like they have any type of working relationship at this point. You know, Bow Wow's 35 years old. It says something about him putting out his final album on Death Row. I don't think anybody's checking for it at this point. The best move he probably could have made was going into acting. After his rap career kind of faded off back in the early 2000s, he was doing some movies that were pretty good. The Lottery Ticket, I remember that. He did Roll Bounce. That was an okay movie. But if he had continued doing that, he could be like a Will Smith right now, or a LL Cool J, or Ice-T. These people were all able to transition and evolve into other things. The career span for a rap star is about equivalent to an NFL running back. Shorter, not equivalent, shorter. They say the average career span for an NFL running back is about 5 seasons. The average career span for a rapper is literally about 1 song for most of them. They one-hit wonders. They'll put out a song, it blows up. Spot 'em Got 'em is a great example of that. What happened to Spot 'em Got 'em? Everybody was doing that dance a couple of months ago. Everybody was saying his name a couple of months ago. Nobody's checking for this dude anymore. This is the career span for a rap star. Bow Wow was able to experience 10 times that. Matter of fact, his 15 minutes are up. The only way that he's getting pressed right now is things like this. I think the best thing for Bow Wow to do, hopefully he still has some money left over. The other thing about a lot of these child stars is their parents spend their money up. Now, I remember reading something about Bow Wow, and they said that his mom put his money in a trust fund that he couldn't touch till he was like 18 years old. Well, he's well past 18 now, he's like 35. You just hope that he's getting some type of residuals from the music. Just me knowing artist deals, not just knowing artist deals, but knowing kid artist deals, they don't own no publishing. I'm sure the Jackson 5 didn't own any publishing on any of those songs they were doing. Most of the time, the parents don't know the business like that, and you just hope they get a good entertainment lawyer to represent them, because the most exploited artists there are children. Now, I think another part of this whole child star syndrome is the bitterness that they experience later in life. It's kind of like the high school football star or the prom queen. When they hit that peak of their life so early, and they're always looking back at the past and who they used to be. And instead of kind of just going on with your life after that, they get stuck and they'll never achieve that greatness again in whatever it was that they were doing. He's at that point. We expected him to evolve as a rapper in some kind of way. But what ended up happening was he became a clone of whatever was popular at the time, where he had his own thing as a child. And I don't know, Snoop Dogg had a lot to do with his image. Jermaine Dupri had a lot to do with his image. But he had his own thing. That's why it worked. He was Little Bow Wow, and that worked. If that could have evolved into something else, it could have been greatness. But it's potential that will not be realized. The best thing that Bow could do right now is possibly get behind the scenes in some kind of way, help other kids or other young artists in the industry at this point. Use your experience to make this a better place. We know how screwed up the entertainment industry is as a whole and how demonic the music industry can be. For a kid, I'm sure it was crazy for him growing up in this industry, seeing all the stuff you see, having to do some of the things you have to do to get these opportunities. Go help other people that are trying to do what you've already done. Give them your experiences. I see that he's got the brushes and he's got the wave caps, so he's doing something else. But yeah, do that and be a dad, man. You're 35 now. You're not Little Bow Wow anymore. Let the past go. Maybe that's why he can't evolve, because it seems like he's still stuck on Jermaine Dupri when he hadn't put out a record on So So Def in over a decade. Why even bring Jermaine Dupri up unless you're stuck in the past? And if you're stuck in the past, you can't move into the future. You're binded by your present because all you can do is think about the past. Man, it's deep, man. It gets deep. But hey, all I can say is you gotta let that bitterness go. You gotta move forward with your life. Jermaine Dupri ain't did nothing to you, man. And in fact, if I was talking to you as a big brother, I'd tell you that man is responsible for everything that you have today. You would just be another person out here if it wasn't for him. Instead of giving him your ass to kiss, you should be giving that man a lot of appreciation. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Don't burn the bridge you know you're gonna need. But the stuff that people are doing to get a little press these days and some PR to get into the news cycle for that day, when tomorrow we'll forget all about it, on to the next thing. They burning bridges for press, these days. They creating fake beefs so that they can get in the news cycle for a couple hours, so that people will talk about them, so they'll be trending for a little bit. Hey, more power to you. If this is what you have to do to get your money, more power to you. Hey, I always say this, Kanye West is the best at it. Kanye stays in the news cycle daily about something. Yesterday he was in the news cycle because Jay Prince stepped up for him. I did the video on that. Y'all go check that one out. But Ye is the best at it. If you can't keep up with the pace of the news cycle, you should just drop out. If you can't create viral moments every day, just drop out, because that's what the game is now. Yeah, Bow, you got in the news cycle with that Twitter rant today. Of course everybody wants to see that, but you're gonna have to keep it up or just leave it alone, bro. Just move on with your life. But on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. It's been FlashGOD TV. Keep checking in with me. If you like the video, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. Hey, if you got some thoughts, leave some comments, man. But on that note, peace out.